Welcome, men. We still have no air conditioning, and it's Rollin here in WPGU 1071 and UPTV. This is kind of crazy. Tomorrow, we'll be running in the 10K. It finally hit me today. I got my...
It'll hit me tomorrow.
Yes, so James Boyd is here, Will Gerard, and Will's twin is here. They look exactly the same. Just kidding, of course. Chloe in the house, rocking the photog business. But now, in the marathon business, we've got London. From last week, we didn't get a chance to talk about that. But, of course, now we do. And now we have the news that Tatiana is not, and was not, the winner. So...
Oh, my gosh. Where did she place?
Number 2.
Dang, that's just not cutting it. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, I guess you can't win them all. And after I talked to Adam going heading into Boston,
Adam Blakeney,
head coach for the Illinois wheelchair track team, he talked about the quick turnaround, how London is more of a technical race. Can't use your a lot of the elements or like the slopes and things like that to your advantage. Obviously, it's, I guess, obviously it's even for everyone, but maybe the fatigue, maybe the quick turnaround kind of changed things for Tatiana, but even still, top 5 finish. The winner, Australia's, hope I say this right.
Oh, boy.
Madison de Rosario.
Yes.
We apologize if we mispronounced your name, Madison. I know you're out there listening right
Yeah,
now.
you are.
Of course. She has nothing better to do. Which was, I mean, obviously big time for her and her country. Just had won the, I want to say, how do they say this again? So I'm struggling here with these words. Australia, like you'd think, like, you know, it's English, so you're good, but a lot of these names have different, like, spellings I haven't seen before. She's the first Australian to win the London Marathon in the wheelchair women's division.
And it was also a lot warmer than it was during the Boston Marathon. It was a much better racing environment for sure. I know we're going to get to that later on in addressing Boston, but those racing did not have to battle the elements nearly as much.
Exactly. So a very quick turnaround, as James mentioned, from Boston to London, 6 days, but now they have a break. We don't really know right this pressing moment if any of the wheelchair racers will be in the marathon tomorrow, but I'm sure there'll be somebody in the half marathon.
Oh yeah, I'm
racing us, probably beating us, definitely beating us.
Why weren't we training with Adam? What the heck? He could have got us ready for the race.
Why aren't we?
It's too late now, but...
I don't need training. I keep telling y'all this.
I'm sure we'll see a lot of familiar faces over there.
How long have you been training for this, James?
Rollin Illini listeners out there, I just want you to know I will not break a sweat tomorrow. That could be for reasons other than running fast or finishing. Might pass out when I see how far we got to go. But I will not break a sweat. In all seriousness, though, it should be a good time. Looking forward to a lot of the stuff that we have going on with that. So,
I will probably break a sweat, but not because I've been working out. I'll be more concerned about this GoPro Fusion stuff we'll be talking about that in a bit. But back to London, James, how was the course setup different in London as compared to Boston?
Yeah, so I mentioned this before, and I was talking to Adam about this. He was saying it's a lot more turns and things like that, a lot flatter ground, so there's no leverage as far as coasting. We talked about this, I think, on last week's show, how wheelchair racers finish their marathons way ahead of those with legs or
Slip
able-bodied. So basically, I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost honestly, it's remarkable to see how fast, like how much faster they are. I didn't really realize that until you look at the time side by side. But again, like if you're Tatiana, if you're Amanda, if you're competing in a marathon, they have a slope. You don't have to use too much energy to just slide down. You know, anything that's inclined. But with your legs, you able-bodied division, you still have to exert more energy, so it takes a longer time. And plus, even just in life, you know, you're riding a bike and someone else is walking, you usually pass them up. So,
Usually.
but yeah, a lot more technical, a lot flatter. And, I mean, obviously, it creates a different type of element or different type of preparation for it. That's the interesting thing about track and track and field in general is that no course is the same except for like the length, 26.2, but how you get to that 26.2 can be very different. And obviously, Boston, raining, terrible, inclines, things like that. In London, nice, sunny, but then obviously flat, and so it evens out.
Exactly. So thank you for putting that in perspective. To put Boston in perspective, I know last week we were talking about Amanda McCrory and her health. We didn't want to draw any outlandish speculations about her career or whatever, how she's doing. She's fine. So we saw her this week, couple days ago, I don't remember what day, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. These days all come together anymore. So I saw and talk with Amanda. Amanda just came back from London, and she was talking about how in Boston there was ice on the roads, it was raining, windy, and so for her it was just not worth it to compete. She has competed in similar situations before, and it has resulted in injuries, and in fact, a lot of the wheelchair racers dropped out of the race midway through. That's something we did not address last week. But even Manuel Schar, you know, a big name in the house, actually the studio, but a big name in the wheelchair racing industry, she stopped halfway through. She just did not feel comfortable continuing. But what happens is if you stop, you have to have somebody pick you up. So like if you stop at mile marker 13, you'll be sitting there for a couple hours until somebody like a truck or just anybody in a car comes by, hopefully comes by and picks you up, helps you leave the course. James, you seem pretty stunned.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it. I just assumed that people were, you know, at every mile marker or relatively close.
You would hope.
But then again, when you watch these events, they only show the people in the lead, and that's the only time people are around. So they don't. So I guess I didn't think about everyone else besides the persons or persons in first and second and third place. So
Exactly.
that is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And a very interesting, because you say hours, I'm like, wow, the Boston Marathon was the coldest it was in 30 years. So that's a long time to be like, coldness makes everything seem longer. So
Exactly.
I can only imagine having to sit through something like that. But
We didn't mention this already, but in London, it was actually one of the hottest marathons ever for the London Marathon too. So for those racers, there was some crazy difference in terms of the weather.
Interesting.
what a difference 6 days and a trip across the pond can make.
Yeah, big trip across the pond. But from being wrapped up in garbage bags to eating ice cream outside. Kind of the difference one day made. Actually 6. But so Amanda was just not interested in putting her health on the line and even starting the race and getting caught up in nasty conditions and having to wait. She did even say to me that there was one wheelchair racer, who just sat on the roads for a few hours waiting for assistance to get off. And so we always try to think about this in terms of the rankings. Well, the rankings are already set, even before Boston. So it didn't really matter how these racers like Tatiana or Amanda finished because it's already been set. So
I understand that, but also, if you just want to go out there for fun like Tatiana, just win the entire thing, that's cool too, for legacy purposes.
yeah.
Because it's unreal how good she is when she's healthy.
Tatiana?
Like, yes. Because I was thinking, like, when was it like, cause, like, even London, like, she was fully healthy. So it's pretty, obviously it's impressive to win in any marathon against any opponent, but when your opponent, like, and your opponent's an all-time great, and she's fully healthy, and you knock her off, and you win,
Yeah.
hats off to you.
Right.
So,
Yep. So Tatiana, as we did mention, did compete and finish in Boston and win. Obviously, a very slow pace for her. One of the slowest finishes in recent history in Boston.
yeah, they're saying it's like the slowest in the last 30 years. So it don't matter though. It's actually another interesting thing about, like, because I always, you always play. I played a lot of different sports where like, scoring and stuff matter, but in racing, whoever sets the pace matters. So you can win, with the time of, whatever time she had at Boston, and then come in first and do that same time somewhere else and be the last. So it kind of just depends on the racing and the conditions and who sets the pace and who's willing to get out in front and kind of establish how fast the others are going to go. So
Exactly. Well,
strategy,
Yeah, they're very smart. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and come back with an update on James Boyd's long-form story on Joey Peters. Of course, Joey helps people like Tatiana and Amanda prepare for a marathon. We'll be back. Nothing launched.
This dude.
Will is always counting down the seconds until we're live on the air.
Well, yeah, of course.
He's
We should be ready when we're on air.
He's being the good producer man.
I
that
was
he
so
is.
immersed in the countdown today, I thought he was launching a rocket.
Which, of course, made absolutely no sense to our listeners out there until you provided a little additional context.
We
but-
probably lost about 10 listeners. That's okay. But we are back in business. We're on here, WPGU 1071, UPTV, James Boyd, Will Gerard, Chloe, and I'm Ryan Wilson.
Chloe Rose Gerard, just
Chloe
to be clear,
Rose Gerard,
my twin
yes.
sister in studio
Yes.
taking pictures.
Ooh.
Special friend of the program, family, maybe.
Of course.
I don't know what to call you.
Family, maybe. I was going to say twins. They don't get too much closer than that.
Yeah. But we are back now. And James, you've been working on your long-form piece
Yes.
on Joey Peters for how long now?
Since spring break, so about a
Okay.
month.
So tell us what you have learned since your last update.
So, last update is I sent in my final draft today. Final edits, interviews.
Round of applause
Hey.
for
Riveting.
James.
Hey, I will take it.
cannot wait.
Because, the thing is, when it comes to the story, you guys know, it is always cool to see where they go, who reads them, and, who gets behind it or enjoys it, and things like that. But it's a grind sometimes to get it out, and especially now we're trying to wind down with school, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to graduate and make sure I graduate.
And writing, 12-page papers and all that good stuff.
But don't doubt me. I turned it in 15 minutes before the deadline. Anyways, back to Joey. One of the things that didn't actually make it into the story, which not necessarily wasn't necessary for it, I don't think. But I asked him about, his observations of Tatiana, Amanda, and all the other. He said, which I thought was interesting. He was like, "Yeah, it's cool to see, how much she can lift in reference to Tatiana and what she does and all the, the marathon she wins and all the training." But he was saying it's also, and what a lot of times we don't see, or the outside world doesn't see, is how much or how well she take care of her body when it comes to resting and, avoiding certain workouts if she's overused this muscle for a certain amount of time, or, just making sure that she's very in tune with her body. He was saying he listens to her body basically better than any athlete he's been around, which I thought was pretty interesting. Because
he does or she does?
She does. She,
okay.
Knows how to listen to her body, and he was saying she doesn't really push too much harder than what she needs to when it comes to certain things to avoid injury, and to keep herself fresh and to keep herself great for this long. So I thought that was very interesting because he was telling me that one of the athlete things is to just push yourself to the max, and that's like the standard, and that's what all the fans want. That girl's not giving max effort. Yeah. But he was saying behind the scenes, you have to kind of pick and choose your battles so that you can stay healthy and stay great as long as she has. So,
yeah,
very fun.
Yes, of course, she is a very smart competitor, and just like Amanda is kind of trying to do the same thing and not push herself too far. But what has been the most surprising detail you've done, and could you also run us through again what your story is about, just so we know?
So a quick overview of the story. Okay, Joey Peters was was is the term, was an Illinois gymnast on the team here, and his career didn't really turn out the way he wanted it to. A lot of injuries, especially at the tail end of it, and because of that, he was kind of left like, what do I do now? Like, I've been a gymnast for so long, and it didn't end how I wanted it to. I knew it was going to come to an end, but now I'm kind of soul searching here, like, what's next? Mm-hmm. So and this is quote or paraphrase from his head coach Justin Spring. He is a very, 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 very smart person. So, Spring kind of put him in contact with some people over in the kinesiology department, working with rehabilitation science. And Joy was able to get involved with the wheelchair track program. Mm-hmm. So the story is basically him having a dream that didn't really work out and then finding a new passion because the dream didn't work out. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's like this redemptive, from the ashes, but it's just like, I feel like it's a cool profile on reality, because the reality is a lot of athletes don't make it to the next level. So if you look at, who played in every level of your life, you look at who played when you were in middle school and less in high school and less in, obviously, in collegiate sports. And then he was saying he had aspirations of playing on the, competing on the national team. That just didn't happen. And even then it's rare that it does. So it kind of explores, what do you do next when reality kind of sets in and you got to pick something else to do. Mm-hmm. So that's the gist of it. Talked to a lot of people about it. One being Adam Blakeney, and obviously his head coach Justin Spring, and two kinesiology researchers, Ian and Laura Rice. So yeah, it's been a cool story, and honestly, I can't wait for you guys to read it, because the way it comes together and the way everyone kind of knew each other, and you can't make this stuff up, honestly. I feel like
I hope not.
Yeah, it just, oh no, I will never make it. But it's cool how it flows together. So I'm excited for it, and I feel like he's a good guy. So
good. Thanks for sharing.
Oh yes, it's gonna be fun. Drops on, I believe, Monday. So I feel like I got like a mixtape or something.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
I promise I will not.
The stories published.
Of course, and I do want to say just a quick personal thing. I done long form stories before. I've written, even just in-depth profiles for our regular or able-bodied sports. But this was the first time I kind of dove into the, outside of this show, the Paralympic world or Paralympic community and things like that. So it was a learning experience for me, and I hope you all learn as much as I did through the story. It was fun.
Yeah, so how is covering for you para-athletics like Adam Blakeney different from interviewing somebody like Levy Smith? You've done both. How's it different?
One, there's not a lot of info out there as far as just like, for example, when I worked for the AP, when I freelanced for them, great time, by the way, they basically wanted you to be an expert on any team that came to Illinois. Like, so you had to know Illinois sports, and you had to know Northwestern and Wisconsin. So I would just look up, it wasn't hard for Wisconsin football. Go to their page. There's a ton of quotes, stats, player bios, coaches bios, so it wasn't that hard to find. I Googled Adam Blakeney, and I think the first link that came up, first of all, I Googled Adam Blakeney, and nothing relevant to him came up. With like Google, like UIUC, you got to be a little more specific. And then two, the first link that came up said like he was the coach, maybe for like it was like his 6th year as a head coach, and I was like, this can't be right. Like, this doesn't even, like, the years don't even make sense or add up. So that's one thing I learned, is that when you do your interviews, and a lot of the times I have to just tell them, like, hey, if this information is out there, I generally don't know. It might seem like this such a simple question, where are you from? Where were you born? You know, how did you get involved with this and things like that? And it seems like, oh, that's such an easy thing to find for an athlete, but it's not. And also acknowledging that I don't know something. When you go to the press conference for Lovie Smith, you better know what you're asking about. I mean, obviously you ask him questions to get your quotations out of him and things like that, but when I talked to Adam and when I talked to Ian Rice, who was involved in para-athletics as well, it's kind of a learning experience. So I asked questions that may be silly or dumb, and they kind of explained to me the ins and outs of the things they've experienced. So,
producer man Will Gerard speaking, and I want to follow up to what you just said here, and I think that's one thing that's so awesome about what we're doing, especially with Rolling Illini, is that a lot of the reporting we're doing is not re-reporting anything. So, I mean, there is a lack of information out there in terms of information for a lot of athletes, but at the same time, I mean, we're kind of the ones that have the opportunity to present that information to people, and I think it's so cool, that your story even will be one way of people learning more about these people who are involved in the program.
And I also think it pushes you to really be on your game, because when I'm at a Lovie Smith press conference or a Brad Underwood press conference, there's 20 other people there, and they're going to ask something even if I don't. So if I'm blanking or I don't know what to ask them, there's somebody else who's probably going to cut me off anyways to ask them their question. But when I talk to most of these individuals, it's been one-on-one. So if you don't come prepared, it's just dead space in between you, and they're like, why the heck am I wasting time with this guy? So it really made me want to be prepared, be honest, and learn, and I think that shows throughout the piece. It was fun, and trust me, it was a lot of, what year was this? When did this happen? What does that mean? And I hope I, did a good job explaining it and getting it out there.
Yeah, I'm sure you did an okay job.
Hey, okay is better than I guess my very first story. So it's been a while since then. So I guess if we keep making progress and it's okay, I'm cool with that.
Well, yeah, you touched on a lot of different interesting things. As I've mentioned, last year when I covered the Mocha basketball and track teams for the Daily Illini here, it was quite the task. A lot to do because the reporting on the teams is just non-existent. You can't go to the Associated Press and type in Illinois Mocha basketball. You might get something at the very least of Tim Nugent, and then realize, wait, I can't interview him because he's not around anymore. You'll get something that's old or expired and just useless for a new story, and that's just because the attention on the sport is not there. There are not thousands of people, millions of people, even ESPN pressing to watch Ryan Neiswinder or Emily Oberst play at Illinois. The audience isn't there.
And like you said, it really, really put things in perspective for me, because for those that don't know, or when I went to go cover a game this year, I was able to, sit in the press box. Cool, great, and whatever.
For what game?
For football.
Okay.
And then also for basketball, I sat down on the court side with all the reporters. But there's a ton of reporters, which means there's a ton of people reading their stuff. Like, these people don't work for free, So I get to the game for football, and there's 30 people writing the same game story as me. And then I go cover wheelchair basketball or interview the wheelchair track head coach who has one of the best programs in the country. and there's no like. Obviously, he has things to do, but for the most part, it's one-on-one. It's
right.
It's not. The access isn't limited per se. So
yeah, when I started covering the adaptive athletics, and when I started asking the questions that could have turned them into a negative light, that's just the nature of journalism. But there was one question I asked. It was about. I won't get into it too much, but it was about some things a group of teammates had done after a tournament, and they all got together and had some fun, and it was all posted online on a public account. And because I like the Illinois Butcher Athletics, I first questioned them, like, how do we want to approach this? I knew I was bending my journalism rules, but if I burn the bridge with the adaptive athletics, I don't think I'd be in this spot. I'd be in this chair, but not this spot.
And we'd also like to reiterate too that we're thankful that that we've been provided so much access this year.
Right. Oh,
we're
yeah.
virtually,
That's the thing.
We've been allowed to attend any wheelchair basketball practice. We're welcome over at the track. I know they haven't been out there too much with the weather recently. I mean,
right.
it's finally spring now, but
Yeah.
it's really great being able to just go walk over to Dres and just talk to anyone that's there.
Yeah. So when I was approaching this different angle, they just didn't really know what to do. But now as we're getting more immersed in things, I think we're teaching everybody something, and hopefully Chloe. Great, she's learning. Then we're winning. And I hope you guys at home are listening or driving or wherever you are. What are you doing driving? I mean, it's so nice. Walk. Ride a bike, okay? Use a wheelchair, okay? It's not that hard. If you use a wheelchair, I don't know how you're listening to the radio, but good luck. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break here and come right back with, of course, a lead up to our Illinois Marathon 10K. We're doing it for the Cerebral Palsy Foundation, not in Illinois, in New York, and also Illini Media, our parent company. Right back for more, and please do donate at that link, dailyillini.com/RollinIllini. We'll be back. Here on Rollin Illini on WPGU 107.1 WPTV.
Once
James
again,
Boyd.
Oh,
It
goodness.
makes no sense. Something in the studio.
I was in the middle of a sentence, and I spun it into a relevant note for you guys at home. James Boyd Will Gerard, Chloe Rose Gerard, I'm Ryan Wilson. Chloe's taking some pictures of us as we prepare, not really preparing, for the Illinois Marathon 10K tomorrow. We're doing it for the Cerebral Palsy Foundation and Illini Media Company. That's right, we'll be running. I'm not running, but James and Will are. I will be sitting for 6.2 miles, and we'll be strapping and mounting a 360 camera to my chair, GoPro Fusion. Everything okay? Okay.
The door over there just opened. I don't know.
We
But
have some
Chloe
ghosts
closed
in the
it for us.
studio, and
Well, it's a good thing I believe in Jesus. So.
anyways, we're strapping mounting a GoPro Fusion.
I was gonna say ghost. I was like,
Nah,
wait, what?
We're mounting a ghost to my chair. We're mounting a GoPro Fusion to my chair to capture 360 footage of our experience in the marathon, kind of from my point of view, but just above my head and extended out in front of my foot plates. So you get to see James and Will running by my sides, and millions of people way ahead of us.
Pay attention to our social media accounts. We'll be providing updates during the race.
We sure do.
Speaking of social media, we're taking over the Illinois Snapchat tomorrow, and we'll be bringing you some up close and personal. Because obviously the video with the 360 footage will take a minute to get out there, but if you want to get some...
A few 3 minutes.
If you're from the generation and can't wait,
Yeah.
we will be uploading on Snapchat. a few times throughout the race, obviously before and after, but throughout the race as well. And it's going to be fun.
Where can you follow us? What's the information?
Well, all you have to do is the University of Illinois Snapchat account.
University of Illinois Snapchat. Good to know.
Great to know.
Because we'll be taking it over.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I mean, honestly, you guys should have seen the way we had to fill out to even get access to this. It was pretty. Had to write a paper to get this, so it was fun. It's gonna be fun, and I think it's gonna be a great way for us to kind of get out there and show the larger campus community, Champaign-Urbana community, what the heck we're doing. So, and why we're doing it.
So the idea of the run is to redefine, as we do on this show, every week and day and second and minute and breath, almost, is to basically redefine what it means to have a disability or impairment, as I like to call it. And so that's our goal. I don't think we'll see too many power chairs in the 10K marathon or even 5K tonight.
I'm looking forward to the reactions we'll get when we pass people during the race. And I can't wait to, inform them about what we're doing.
Yeah, so we are definitely challenging stereotypes and expectations, not only with the show, but with the 10K. I got some curious looks today as I picked up my race bib. Picked it up alongside Barry Hauser. Shout out to him. And so tomorrow we'll try to bring you into our experience with virtual reality, which means you can watch us in any direction you want. You can spend the entire 10K staring at me if you want.
Or not staring at Ryan.
But this won't be published live or even the day of, okay? This will take a long time to edit, okay? I don't have the time for this. But I can fit it in my schedule thanks to the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. They're going to help us out quite a bit. Our good friends, Jamie Nelson, Jim Wentworth, and Lisette Chapa, shout out to them, are going to help us out a tremendous amount with the rendering of this footage. With a typical phone, or I guess a regular camera, you have one memory card. Well, with this 360 camera, it's so special, you have two. Because you've got camera lenses on both sides of this little tiny box, capturing the footage, and then after that you put it in the computer, it stitches it all together, and it's one solid frame.
That's where all the magic happens.
That's where all the magic
I remember
happens.
just when you pulled up with it, I'm like, all right, let me see this Fusion, GoPro Fusion he's talking about. It's like this little tiny thing. I was like, oh, it's like the Holy Grail. Oh!
This is the Bible.
So
don't hurt it.
It's gonna be fun. And obviously, like you said, it's about showing different perspectives.
Yeah.
And showing that the end result is the same, regardless of how you get there. So, boom.
Well, the end result will not be the same because I'll be traveling at a max speed of 5.2 miles an hour.
That's as fast as I can travel, Ryan. If anything,
Really?
I think I'm gonna be struggling to keep up with you. I mean, we've had a few trips around campus. I've seen you.
I will continue to be arrogant and say that I will not sweat. So.
All right. Well, we'll have to put money on that one, okay?
I'm glad that you're the one setting the pace.
If Ryan
think I
sets
will
the
be.
pace, I will definitely be drenched in sweat within the first, 600 feet.
Make sure to charge your chair up the night before too, Ryan.
Thank you, Professor Dash, for the reminder.
Push you.
Push. We talked about this earlier. We might be waiting for a few hours. I'll keep you company, but I can't push for 6.2. Ooh, I could barely put what was it, like 0.6, 1.1?
You
from
could
the
barely push me from the arc to a block, okay?
Okay, check this out, people who don't know. Obviously, people that watch our show from UPTV and
We
have seen
talked about
pictures.
this.
I am a skinny man,
Okay,
140 pounds. I cannot
Okay.
push that chair, and believe me, people, you cannot push that chair.
This chair is 350 pounds.
Exactly, for anyone who thinks they're a macho out there. So yeah, it took a little while to get there, Ryan, but we got there.
All right.
As long as you have your laptop bag on you, I'm good. That way down the left side of his chair.
I'll have a few things with me. So as we are mounting the...
We'll also be wearing some pretty cool shirts.
Yes. thanks to my mom and an awesome logo showing our support for the Cerebral Palsy Foundation and Illini Media all in one little box. Just for our shirt on our chest as we'll be plowing through the streets of Champaign and not really Urbana, right?
A little bit of Urbana, I believe.
Okay.
It's also one thing I also want to reiterate here too is you can get one of those shirts either by contacting us or even if you donate, you can have one sent to you.
Yes, you can find those shirts online at www.com/RollIllini. You can buy the shirts and 40% of the proceeds will go straight to us to help CPF and Illini Media. Now, Will, my mom just sent me a message thanking you for reminding me to charge my chair.
You're welcome.
I will definitely be doing that. I just hope I'm not sick.
Hey. We know your chair will be charged, but
My chair will be charged, but in addition to this GoPro Fusion will be charged. We will have some mics. We'll be mic'd up. We'll have some wireless mics attached to James and Will, and I'll be plugged into this little audio recorder like a robot, and we'll be able to provide you guys at home with a narrative accounts of our experience of rolling up to the marathon, not the marathon, 10K, excuse me. That's a big correction. Not doing 26 miles in one day. As we're rolling up to the starting line, watching these people stretch, you guys are doing your thing. I don't know what to expect from you guys. But I'll be sitting there just chowing down on something. Maybe I can chow down on something. M&M's. And as you guys are doing that, and we start, we'll provide some footage, and then we'll have some more footage, like in the middle of the marathon, and then at the end of us finishing 3 hours later.
Triumphantly crossing the finish line over at Memorial
You know,
Stadium.
you'll see.
not staged or anything.
No.
No, we're not going to stage it. Hopefully Chloe will be there to take pictures of us.
Right.
For those of you who did not
She'll
hear
be
that,
there.
She said she's not a morning person. So
She'll be
Yeah.
there.
We'll see what happens. Maybe
I have
I'll
a good
call
feeling
her
about
mid-race.
this.
Yes, and
Give her a wake-up call.
6.2 miles. Maybe we can make a little detour to go knock on the door, make sure she's up.
yes, so as we are basking in the sunlight and the limelights of our experience, let's throw it to Team USA. They were Team USA Paralympics. They were recently at the White House, getting recognized by the presidents and all of their administrators, federal officials. And so we've got a couple of big names that were there. Oksana Masters. Of course, she was named the female Paralympic athlete of the Games. The Games that being in Pyeongchang in March. She won just a few medals. A medal in about every competition she was doing. And Travis Dotson, our friend who was on the show, of the U.S. sled hockey team, won the Paralympic team of the Games. Will, are you surprised?
Am I surprised?
Mm-hmm.
Not even in the slightest. But I am also very proud of Travis for, being a part of that team. That's a big deal. It's really cool. I mean, one thing we always talk about is I think we kind of take for granted how talented some of the athletes we speak to really are. I mean, they're the best in the world at what they do.
I know he's talented because sled hockeying is almost impossible when I tried it.
Yeah.
And Travis taught himself
Yeah,
in a year or something? Remember what he was saying during his interview?
He was competing in a Summer Olympics. Then he saw sled hockey and said, I want to try that. 4 years later, he's competing for a gold medal and wins it. They defeat Canada in a terrific matchup and a memorable experience. James, I know you watched that gold medal match, correct?
That was pretty amazing
Yeah.
to me. I mean, that was one of the all-time great matches. Pulled it out, and I can only imagine what it's like to be on that stage and get the job done, and not only have your family and friends, but an entire country behind you, cheering for you, rooting you on. So that's like a dream of mine. So maybe in another life, I'll be a sled hockey champion.
In another life.
Maybe. Maybe I should just pick it up like he did, and 4 years
Why
later.
not?
You're always welcome to come over to the rink anytime we have dead ice, you know. I don't know where we'll find a sled for you.
I'd say after I got my butt kicked in a couple races by some of the kids were on
You gotta beat
sled
my
hockey.
kids, man.
I think my pride is just too hurt at the moment to return so soon.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be trying that anytime soon. But I was asked on TV a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago, if I had ever done any skiing. No, I have not.
Yes, that's the I guess radio version of what he said. Not didn't say anything inappropriate, but Ryan is definitely a character.
I had a few choice words, of course, driven by sarcasm, on
the sarcasm king right here.
live and local TV. Thankfully, it was not nationally televised.
Friend of the program, Peter Bailey Wells. I sent him that clip, and he told me, he's like, you know, Ryan is a real pro for how he handled that question. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh man.
No, I'll say my response to if I did any skiing in Colorado over winter break was if I wanted to break my back, yes. I did not want to break my back this year, but maybe next.
Can you just imagine, you know, Ryan traveling down
it's really not
a
that
slope at what, like 30 miles an hour in his chair?
It's
just
really not that
drifting
unheard
around.
of. I mean, people do this. I mean, people are paralyzed and they're skiing. They have no legs or only one arm, and they're in a sit ski. I mean, it's not that crazy.
You even covered
Now, Ryan prefers
skiers that can't see. So I mean, it's people out there doing some pretty daring things. But you know, I guess Ryan's on the other side.
Ryan
of it.
prefers the cover sports.
Yeah, I'd be on the sidelines. You know, when I was in Colorado, I didn't do anything too dangerous. I wasn't risking my life too much. The craziest thing I did was riding a luggage cart. I did do that. We've got GoPro Fusion footage, a 360 view of my luggage cart.
I feel like GoPro should just send him a free camera or a free.
Thank you.
Tell me more about GoPro Fusion.
Right. I feel like are they sponsoring us or something? Why did their name keep?
No, but CITL the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, is sponsoring us and partnering us. Well, actually, they're not paying anything right now. See what happens after this 10K and we don't make it back. But it's 7 o'clock. I guess we got to end. And next week it's our
Last show.
last show.
Kind of surreal.
We will
This year
see you
flew by.
on the other side of the 10K.
All right. For James Boyd, Will Gerard, Chloe Rose Gerard, Jason Liggett
Who's not actually here.
on UPTV and on WPGU 1071. This is Rollin Illini, signing off for the second to last time this semester. And please do donate while you can to the CPF and Illini Media at dailyillini.com/Illini. See you on the other side of the 10K.